Our presentation is on perception checking in healthcare setting, and this is presented by me, James Gazy, Sandra Owusu Asrife, Megdes Fenta, Ramatu Mohammed, and we are in the Group B. In presenting our topic, we'll look at these objectives. We'll first define what perception is, explain how perception can lead to misunderstanding or conflict, and give an example of misperception leading to conflict, as well as provide details of events leading to the conflict. We'll also give sources of misperception, as well as explain the perception checking process. We'll also explain how the perception checking helps avoid misperception and conflict, and provide a role-play scenario where perception checking in healthcare setting is exhibited, as well as provide our APA references. According to Arnolds and Box in 2022, perception is defined as a process by which individuals interpret and make sense of information gathered from their sensory experiences, helping them understand the environment and form reactions. In context of communication, perception involves selecting, organizing, and interpreting stimuli to understand people and situations. It is a subjective process influenced by various factors such as the past experiences, cultural background, and personal biases. These factors help shape individuals perceive others and the world around them, which in turn impacts communication and relationship in healthcare setting.
Hi, my name is Sandra, and I'm taking you through how perception can lead to misunderstandings or conflict. Perception can lead to misunderstandings or conflicts when individuals interpret the same situation in different ways based on their personal experiences, biases, emotions, and cultural backgrounds. The lens through which individuals perceive events could lead to misunderstanding of a particular situation. For example, a message or behavior can be perceived as hostile or disrespectful by one person, while the other person may have intended it in a neutral or even in a positive way. Misinterpretations of nonverbal cues, tone of voice, or intentions often result in communication breakdowns, leading to conflict in both personal and professional relationships. Arnold and Box 2022. Now we are moving on to the example of misconception leading to conflict. 1. We have the situation. A colleague communicated through short emails with minimal wording. He received a feedback like, looks fine, on a project he worked so hard on. He assumed the response was dismissive and uninterested. 2. Misunderstanding. He later discovered that his colleague preferred quick, concise communication due to workload. And so his brevity was a way to be efficient but not dismissive. Misconception here caused unnecessary frustration and feeling of being undervalued. So the resolution. He understood the context of their communication style and then adjusted his expectations and started asking clarifying questions. He then improved understanding and collaboration moving forward. Takeaway. Misinterpreting behavior is easy when lacking full context. Highlighted the importance of perception checking to avoid assumptions. Now we are moving to the details of events leading to the conflict. Initial request for feedback. He sent an email requesting feedback on a project with significant effort invested. 2. Brief and unclear response. He received only looks fine, leading to disappointment. 3. Assumptions and growing frustrations. He assumed lack of interest or commitment from the other colleague. And so frustrations was built over time due to repeated brief replies. Building tension. Now, he avoided further discussions and he assumed that um, his other colleague was just behaving some way. And so assuming continued disengagement. 5. Clarification and realization. So his colleague explained his brief responses were due to managing multiple projects and wasn't necessarily means like he was ignoring him or something. And so he apologized and clarified their intent to communicate efficiently going forward. Resolution and understanding. Now, this person realized perception was based on incomplete information. And so he adjusted communication approach, and then that leads to improved teamwork. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ramatu. Sources of misperception could be perceived lack of interest, workload and time constraints influencing communication. Also, and the lesson to be derived is we should avoid assumptions and seek clarification to prevent misunderstandings. Perception checking process includes describing the behavior. One, objectively describe the observed behavior without judgment or interpretation. Focus on what you saw or heard. For example, I noticed that you were quiet during the meeting. Maintain a neutral, non-judgmental tone. Interpret the behavior. Offer two possible interpretations or assumptions about this behavior. Show openness by not assuming one interpretation is correct. An example of that is I interpreted your silence as possibly being disinterested in the discussion. Is something bothering you? Ask or request clarification. That's the third. So how do you ask for clarification? Ask for clarification to confirm or correct your interpretations. Allow the person to share that perspective and then open a dialogue. You can give an example by saying, how can you tell me what you were thinking during the meeting? Clarify their viewpoint and enable reinterpretation of the situation. How perception checking helps avoid misperceptions and conflict. How does that happen? One, clarification of understanding. Perception checking helps clarify understanding of another person's behavior before making assumptions, encourages articulating observations and seeking feedback. For example, I noticed you seemed quiet during the meeting. I'm wondering if you were feeling unwell or if something else was on your mind. It opens up dialogues and prevents misinterpretation. Secondly, reduction of assumptions encourages individuals to set aside personal experiences and biases. Actively seek the other person's perspective to avoid incorrect interpretation. An example, I noticed you have not replied to my message. Did something happen that you'd like to talk about? That promotes empathy and reduces misunderstandings. Then, three, conflict prevention. It encourages open communication and clarification, preventing potential conflicts. It also provides an opportunity to express your thoughts and feelings for better understanding. Misunderstandings are addressed early, reducing the likelihood of escalation, and it promotes healthier relationships and enhances collaboration.
Hi, my name is Magdas. Today I'm going to provide a personal work example on misperception which leads to conflict. One afternoon, as I was working as a healthcare aide at senior assisted living facility, I was helping Mrs. Mary, a resident with dementia. That day was her shower day, and after I gave her a shower and drying her off and dressing her with her nightgown, I left the room to attend another residence. However, after I left Mrs. Mary, in her confusion, she went back again and wet herself. And Diane, one of my coworkers, entered Mrs. Mary's room, and she immediately assumed that I had neglected my duty and reported the situation to our manager WhatsApp without even asking me about that situation first. In the meanwhile, I was worried Diane might think I had neglected my duty. Instead of letting the misperception build up, Diane should have approached me and asked me clarification about the situation. She could have used perception checking to avoid making this perception. First, she could have described what she saw. Diane might say, I noticed Mrs. Mary was wet when I entered the room. I didn't understand why she was wet. That she can interpret the situation. Did I understand the situation correctly, or is there more to it that I am missing? Finally, she can ask a clarification. Could you please explain what happened after Mrs. Mary's shower? I was confused when I saw her wet, so that I can explain that Mrs. Mary had wandered back into the bathroom after I left, which was understandable due to her dementia. I can assure Diane that I hadn't neglected her by checking her perception. Diane realized the initial assumption was incorrect. Then we can clear up the misunderstanding before it reached the manager. Thank you for listening.
Perception checking is essential in a healthcare setting. Next, you see a role-playing clip or video being acted out that include perception checking in a healthcare setting or nursing. Meg Desventer played a role as Jenny and also was the content creator. Sandra Usu Afie played a role as Mary, who was a resident and also was a videographer. Ramatu Mohammed played a role as Diane and also was the editor and the proofreader. Mr. Watson, or manager, was played by James Casey and also was the video content and creator.
Okay, start. Hi, I'm Macbeth. I'm the healthcare and I'm acting like Johnny.
Hello, my name is Sandra and I'm the patient Mary.
Hi, my name is Ramatu. I'm Diane, the co-worker.
Hi, my name is James. I'm acting as the manager and I'm Mr. Watson.
Okay, Mrs. Mary, how was the shower? Did you like it? Yeah. Okay, you are in your nightgown now. You are ready for bed. I'm just going to leave you now, okay? Good night.
Yeah, bye.
Mary, what's going on? You're wet? Did she leave you wet? Okay, I need to let the manager know. Mr. Watson?
Hi. Oh, please have a seat.
Yes, please, I just want to let you know that Johnny, she left the resident wet. Mary.
You know what?
I saw her in the hallway.
Okay, just calm down. You know what? You have to get clarification from her, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for coming. Diane, can go ahead.
Okay, Johnny, I noticed Mrs. Mary was wet. Did you leave her unattended? Did I misunderstand the situation? Or there was more to it? Can you please clarify?
Yeah, after I gave her the shower, I dressed her with her nightgown and I left the room to attend another resident. Maybe in her situation, she went back to give herself shower again. That's why you saw her wet.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I actually should have spoken with you directly before going to Mr. Hansen.
All right.
Thank
Great
you.
teamwork. Thank you for solving it amicably.